What's up, true believers? Believe me when I say you gotta rise up to the sun to ignite your passion. I don't know why I said that. No, it sounds dumb. I'm embarrassed by that. But what I'm gonna be doing in this video is I'm gonna be downloading every single console game that I ever purchased from the iOS App Store since 2011 when I first got my iPad Touch, second generation. This is actually the first time and first video that I'm attempting to do anything like this in terms of trying to download all my console games. So I'm super excited to see how it turns out. Before we actually start to attempt to do this awesome quest of downloading all my console games that I've ever downloaded, I have to give you a fair warning. Now, since most of these console games I'm going to be downloading are from when I actually started gaming on iOS, which was in 2011, some of these console games are not going to be available on the App Store anymore, which means that they're not going to be available to download. But the good news is that if you have previously downloaded them and bought them onto your iOS device before they were removed from the App Store, they're still going to be in the App Store under your purchase history and your App Store profile, which is good news for you because that means you'll be able to download them again and replay them to your heart's content, as long as those console games in your purchase list are compatible with your modern phone. With that being said, I'll be including every single console game that either was removed from the App Store or that I couldn't play in this video at the end of this video. But without further wait, let's get into trying to download the console games. I'm using my mom's iPad Pro M1 to record this portion of the video, whereas the first portion of the video was recorded on my iPad Air M1. The reason I'm using my mom's iPad Pro M1 is because it has a portfolio case, meaning that it has a stand connected to it where it can be propped up to this angle for you to view my iPad Mini 7 when I'm demonstrating it. Whereas my iPad Air M1, it does not have a case or a stand connected to it. And I don't have any other means to record using that iPad from this angle that you see in the iPad Pro. So for this portion of the video, I'm just going to record on the iPad Pro. So sorry if my voice is a little distorted or if this angle is a little weird. I can't do anything much better than this, or at least not currently. But with all that said, let's get onto the iPad Mini 7. Alright everyone, so this is my iPad Mini 7, 512 gigabytes. I bought this iPad 2 weeks ago in this specific size for this specific video because I wanted to see how much of my console games I could get on a max storage iPad Mini 7. So you'll notice that I don't have any apps downloaded on this iPad. All these are the default Apple apps you get when you purchase any iOS device. And that's because I wanted the max storage to test for this video. So if we go to About in general, you can see that I am on iPadOS 18.0, which is the original firmware that this iPad Mini 7 comes with, according to Wikipedia. And you can see the capacity is 512 gigabytes. And the availability from that capacity is 993.56 gigabytes. And if we go to iPad storage, you'll see that only 18.6 gigabytes is taken of that 512 gigabytes, and that leaves us with 493 gigabytes. So, would that be enough? Oh, I haven't used this iPad, so. So, would that be enough? Would that be enough to download all of my console games? Such as these. Look at these. This is a pretty big collection of console games. I don't really know if the iPad is going to be able to do it, but oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Man, that took forever. Like, what? We started at around 5 p.m. and it took me 3 hours to download all of these games because it's now 8 p.m. But at least we now know how much a 512 gigabyte iPad can handle in terms of all my console games. And we only downloaded all of them. And this is a pretty big list. Look at this. So, yeah, my iPad actually downloaded all of them. The only one it couldn't really download is this one, War Mongrels, and that's because it needs to be updated to fit the iPad mini 7 by the developers. And it also couldn't download these at the beginning. Just because they're not on the App Store anymore. So that's about 3 apps out of my entire gaming library that I couldn't download. I'm pretty happy with the results, actually. Now that all of these games are downloaded on my device, let's check out how they actually look. Alright. I might have to reorganize some of them because, my God, this is an awful lot of screens. But first I want to check out how much the storage is. Alright, moment of truth. iPad storage. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at this. Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see how much storage this just took up? All these games? Only 67 gigabytes have been used. So the availability of the storage is 249.33 gigabytes. Oh my Lord. This may seem impressive, but keep in mind, all of these console games that I have installed, I have not downloaded any of their DLC, which is why you see a game like Grid Autosport taking up the max storage, which is 4.3 gigabytes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install every single console game's DLC. So then we can actually see what the true storage of all these console games are, plus what their DLC. Well, there you go. I not only installed every single one of my console games from 2011, but I also installed the game data of each and every one of those console games that needed it to be able to play the game. I also installed nearly all of every single one of the console's games DLC. You can actually see the overall storage size being 505.82 gigabytes out of 512, as well as all of the actual individual storage sizes of the games, because there is a lot of games, and they have all increased dramatically. Oh, I should tell you it's also the next day, just because this was it was very hard to actually download all of these DLCs in the same day. And I don't know if you could see that, but it is Wednesday, December 18th. The weird thing I just discovered is if you go back up top and you see that I have 505 gigabytes out of 512. So that means that I should have 7 more gigabytes, right, to use. But if I come out of iPad storage and I go to About, it says that I have availability of 48.74 gigabytes. So I don't know where that extra gigabytes is coming from, because the iPad storage seems about right. You know what? I'm just gonna come out here and go over here to games. Then you can actually see all my games. I wonder how many games I actually have installed, because this is a lot. After doing some off-screen calculations via my own brain and using the calculator app, I have concluded, or rather my calculator has concluded, that I have 120 console games on my iPad mini 7. Which, now that I think about it, it doesn't seem like a lot, just because 120 console games factor into 512 gigabytes. But then again, hey, these are 120 console games ranging from PS1 to PS4 that you can take wherever you go and play on an iPad or iPhone that lacks a fan. How crazy is that? So, I'll take it. That being said, there were only a couple, like 3 maybe, of console games that I couldn't play on my iPad, just because they would either crash at the title screen every time I tried to play, or they just wouldn't open. So I'll list them now for anyone who is thinking about trying to attempt to download their entire console or mobile gaming collection into their iOS device. My only advice, if you do attempt to try to do what I did, is buy two devices. The first device where you have like all your games that you're going to do this with, don't update the firmware past what you know to be compatible with all of these games, because there's a chance that they might become incompatible in the future, and then you might lose them when they're gonna like expire. You never know when the developers are just not going to update them. You never know when the developers are just going to remove them and give no reason why. So you always just want to make a fail-safe. For example, The Last of Us Remastered. That was ported onto iOS in 2019, but it was removed from iOS in 2022 by the developers, and they never put it back on the App Store because apparently the game kept freezing on iOS 16. And think about it, that's 2 generations back, or 2 generations of firmwares back now from iOS 18. And they still haven't put The Last of Us Remastered back on the App Store, even though they had plenty of time to fix it. Or maybe the BioShock port. You all remember that? The BioShock port that was for iOS? Now that was a good port. Well, it was released in August 2014 by 2K China, but then they removed it 11 months later, September of 2015, because iOS 8.4 broke it, and they never bothered to fix it. And a lot of people were disappointed, including me. So, getting 2 devices seems to be like the easiest way, at least in my opinion, to do that. You know, one device that you never update past a certain firmware. Like for me, iOS 18 will be my device that I don't update, while the other device I do update past iPad OS 18. Alright, what are my closing thoughts to wrap up this video? I had a pretty fun experience of just doing this crazy idea I randomly just had of just primarily buying an iPad mini in the Mac stores of 512 gigabytes to see if I could hold my entire gaming collection since 2011, 13 years ago. And I got my answer. So I honestly wouldn't mind doing this again for other storages, like 128 gigabytes, 256, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes. Also, any other future storages that Apple exceeds beyond 2 terabytes. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video, as it was very fun for me to make.